Hey, what's up guys? In today's video I'm gonna update you about some of my progress with my CYC build, some issues, some fixes, some upgrades, and overall progress. So it's gonna include disassembly of the motor, the mountings, the electronics, and the mounting of the battery pack. Let's start. So, my first and the main issue with this build was overheating of the motor, which was probably my fault anyway. I decided to re-grease it just in case, after only a few rides, and when I did that, I've added a bit too much of it. I took a wrong example from re-greasing Bafang motors, which usually suggests to blast it to maximum capacity. But the CYC motor has much more RPM, the sprocket and the planetary gears, that too much of the grease in there caused it to overheat and turn it into more of a liquid state, which then had an option to invade my precious shaft.
That's what she said.
I took some pictures of it, take a look. Luckily, nothing crazy happened. The motor winding looks good, magnets as well, especially when they're rated to be up to 180 degrees. So guys, make sure you're not overgreasing this one, especially if you're in the hottest environment on earth, the Holy Land. Now check out my custom bracket I've made for the motor. I've always liked the idea to have the motor inside the frame, and it was almost possible, only the left side bracket was sitting too flush with the frame to make any adjustments with it. This hiccup didn't stop me, as my self-taught 3D lessons are now on the front lines. Quick sketch in Fusion 360 with some base measurements taken from the frame, then 3D print as dimension test, 3 of them to be exact, and then sending off to my buddy Arisdeen for CNC milling. Check out this bad boy. This made of steel, it is slightly heavy, I think around 400 grams, but this is definitely a piece for life. The most awesome mismatch was made on this piece is the fact that I wanted to be 3mm thick, but he only had 5mm in stock, so my impatience kicked in and I accepted it as 5mm. But making it 5mm caused it to be flush with the stock motor spacer, which is so satisfying to mount. Next is my battery pack, which still holds me as a hostage, kind of. I had no issues with pedal clearance while the battery was above them, but I insisted to go lower as I could to achieve the best weight distribution, although I didn't feel much heavy on the front my last ride, but the lower the better anyways. First issue was my stock CYC pedals, which had no offset, solved easily by buying FSA pedals with 20cm clearance, 10cm each side from the center of the bottom bracket. Once I got them on, I realized I have more clearance on the sprocket side than the other. I did reach my goal to get the battery lower, but I am now a bit nervous about how close it is. My next weak link in this build is the horrible and temporary pipes Omegas, which held very well when were over tightened and looked like pure shit. I am now trying to temporarily fix it with some better fittings for the next trip in a week, but I am definitely looking for suggestions to make some decent looking mounts for this pack. It has to be very rigid, and you get to keep in mind that the down tube of that frame is not a circle shape all the way. It warps in different round shapes a few times from top to bottom. Now it is time for my stupidly glorious fail. As I always do eager to ride, I do forget about consequences from time to time. Last ride it cost me a piece of a frame. Once everything was mounted in the frame triangle, I leaned the motor against the seat pole, thinking that's the contact point, but it was not apparently. Later, when it was too late of course, I found out that the motor is hitting against this tiny mount for the chain guide, which has never seen so many Newton meters coming at him, and the poor guy didn't make it longer than 20 kilometers. Note that the motor was secured by multiple zip ties to the frame, but this didn't prevent the said outcome. I am now working on a 3D printer spacer to put between the motor and the seat tube. We'll definitely update about this. Last thing I am going to mention in this video is the temperature sensor, stock and custom. I had to buy and add my own sensor because nuclear controllers are requiring to be wired as a temperature sense line to ground, and I've read online that the stock CYC sensor is wired to positive. I've tried everything on the nuclear before going south. Adding the sensor was a piece of a cake. I did not remove the old one as everything in this motor is very tight and there is no easy access to it, but the position I found for a new one is more than enough, and it makes the whole procedure a walk in the park. Once I'll connect the two cables to my controller, I will be finally able to monitor my temps properly. Alright guys, this would be the end of the latest update. I am now making much more efforts to make interesting videos about bikes, scoots, and basically anything electric. So stay tuned, hit the like button to make me feel special, and see you very soon.